What's up? What's up? This is Dr. Will James reporting to you at Dr. Will James Reports. And today I want to address the 2024 election, Kamala Harris. Donald Trump is the president elect for the 47th president of the United States of America for his second term. The main thing I want to address is for those who know me and you see some of the things that I post online. I'm not a fan of Trump, not a fan of Kamala Harris. Um, in particular, when speaking of the Black community, I really want to know why so many people think Donald Trump is so negative, but they don't think the same thing about Biden or Harris. I don't know why people don't see the negatives associated with them. Um, so I'm happy that Harris and Waltz didn't win, but that doesn't mean that I'm happy that Trump won. Um, there's a few things that I want to address in relation to that. Um, there's several ways to unpack this. Firstly, I want to address how Kamala Harris, she only had 107 days to campaign. She wasn't the original um, Democratic selection, Democratic Party selection. She came on late after, they realized that Trump would just walk right over Biden. We could all see that Biden doesn't have his faculties, and he didn't know what was going on. He looked terrible in their debate. After that debate, that's when Biden, they forced Biden out, and they chose Kamala Harris. So the fact that she lost is not. It shouldn't even be like a surprise when she only had a little over 3 months to campaign for president. Donald Trump has been doing it basically the whole year. So there's that part. But then there's also the part about the way she campaigned. Like, I've done videos surrounding it. I don't like how she tried to use all of these celebrities, use all of these Black celebrities, and she used like the most ratchet kind of celebrities, and their performances weren't how do I say it, the representation of what I would expect when viewing um a presidential campaign. Like, she had Meg the Stallion out there twerking. She brought out Glorilla out there, and she's twerking and rapping her lyrics, and she's talking about how she got hands and she's making bands. And what does that have to do with anything? It was always like the negative stereotypes of pandering that she was trying to do with all of these young, female hip hop artists that don't represent the Black community. So I didn't really like that. That was getting on my nerve. And then just, the things that, Waltz, her VP selection, the things that he's done in Minnesota, I don't stand for. And we could get into that because a lot of the people who claim to be Christians, they stand for things that aren't Christian like. So that's what I don't understand. When you vote, and I never understand the lesser of two evils thing. Like, evil is evil. If someone is against what you stand for as a person, why would you support them? Why would you vote for that person if they too are not what you represent? So a lot of people who claim or consider themselves to be a Christian will go vote for someone who is pro-choice when the Bible is pro-life. They will go vote for someone who wants kids to do conversion therapy when that's anti-biblical. Um, there's so many different things that people will go out and support, but it's against their core beliefs. That's what I understand, the cognitive dissonance. But furthermore, I don't like how Kamala Harris was out here playing in people's face. And a good thing that was pointed out to me on Shannon Sharp's, when Kamala Harris appeared on Shannon Sharp, how she painted this picture. I want to see if y'all catch it. Let's watch the clip and then we'll go over it. I want to watch the clip first.
The nominee for the Democratic nomination, that, there is the family that you have by birth, and there is also the family you have by love. And they're equally family,
Yes.
right? And I learned that from my mother.
You see what she just did there? He asked her about her family. She says there's family you have by birth, and then there's family that's not quite by not your relatives, but they're still family.
There is the family that you have by birth, and there is also the family you have by love.
The family you have by love. No. Either they're family or they're not.
And they're equally family,
Yes.
right? And I learned that from my
They're not equally family.
mother. So my mother, I had all these aunties and uncles. My Uncle Sherman, who was one of the first Black men to graduate from Berkeley School of Law.
So she just set the table to lie to us, to play in our face. She's talking about an uncle who graduated from Berkeley Law. That's not her biological family. That's her family through love. Because she's talking about a Black uncle right now. So she set the stage to where she could lie to us. Then if she's asked later about, oh, what about that, that uncle that you have that graduated from Berkeley or whatever, she's going to say, oh, no, you missed the part where I said there's family through love. See this word salad that she does? She's playing games. I don't like when people play games like this, but I'll let it continue.
Who, when we were young girls, sat us down and taught us how to play chess, because Uncle Sherman said, you need to understand how the chessboard works, because that's the way the world works. There are going to be different players with different moves, and you need to see the whole board. My mother raised us around, like my Auntie Chris, who went to Howard in the 50s and pledged Alpha Kappa Alpha.
Her Auntie Chris. That's not her biological auntie. Who is this Auntie Chris? This Auntie Chris who went to Howard, and she was an AKA like Kamala Harris would go on to become. And he's soaking it all up. But this is family by love.
And she was one of my incredible role models growing up. And that was one of the big reasons I wanted to go to Howard University and pledge Alpha Kappa Alpha. Those are some of the lessons that I've learned from my mother. And I try to also share with people, right? Which is the beauty of community. And it's the way I am, right? Which is, the children in my life, whether they be my own or, my godchildren or whomever, right? That it's a collective responsibility that we have.
Did you know you were different? I mean, were there a lot of people in the community that looked like you or like your mom, or did your mom tell you were different?
Well, my mother taught us to, and everyone in my growing up, they would tell all of us kids that we were special.
Okay.
I don't think we were particularly special.
Right.
But they told us we were, and we believed them.
Yes.
We believed them. I think that's such an important part of what we can all do for the children and the children in our lives. And,
I think that's enough of that. So my whole thing is with her playing in our face. Everyone caught that just now, what she just did. That's word salad. That's playing games. Who are you? Are you Black? Who are your Black family members? Not these family members and these people who inspired you, that you were raised around, and it was through love. And that's another thing. I don't like that too many people went out to go vote with their emotions. The political spectrum is no place to bring your emotions. We need to have emotional intelligence. Going to vote for Kamala Harris just because she's a woman is low emotional intelligence. Going to vote for her just because she's black, let's say she is black. Going to vote for her just because she's black, low emotional intelligence. Going to vote for her just because she went to HBCU, low emotional intelligence. Going to vote for her just because she pledged to a Divine Nine organization, Greek organization, low emotional intelligence. And I'm sick of that. You have to look at the person, what they represent, what have they done, what are their policies, how do they articulate their policies, who are they running with, what does that person want to do, what is their plan. You have to know that, and you have to compare it to every other person. Okay? What black people have to do is learn to organize their vote, learn to be organized, learn to have things that they want to gain from a presidential candidate, and organize that as leverage to say, look, the person we're going to give our vote to as a community is going to give us XYZ. They try to blame black men for her not winning this election. 78% of black men voted for her. She still had like 81% of the black votes in America. Let me see. Let me do the math on this real quickly. It might be more than that. It might be 85 because I think I saw 92% of black women voted for her, and then 78% of black men. That would be 85%. So it might be more. But 78% of black men voting for her when she came into the presidential campaign 107 days before election day. That's high enough. There were a lot of black men who were saying, what are we going to get? And keep in mind, for this election, there were 2 million voters who did not vote for Trump or Harris. There were a lot of people who went with, they did fill-in ballots, or they did with they voted for Jill Stein. Or can't claim that is misogynistic now if men don't vote for her. Like they can't have political reasons not to vote for her, or their own reasons. Maybe they're pro-life and she's pro-choice. Maybe she wants more restrictions on guns and they don't. Maybe they just felt that other candidates were better. But yeah, we need to organize. Don't let people play in your face when they're trying to be a presidential candidate. Again, I'm no fan of Trump. I'm no fan of Harris. But I don't get how people look at Trump, particularly in the black community, the vast majority, and they're like, oh yeah, he sucks. He's evil. But then they look at Harris or Biden and they don't say the same thing. What have they done? What have they promised? They haven't promised us reparations. She literally went on the air and said, I'm not going to do anything that's just going to benefit the black community. So then we got to get all of these domino effect things. We got to get all of these things that indirectly impact the black community. That happens with most presidential candidates. They implement things that in some way are going to benefit members of the black community. Donald Trump donated to HBCUs. So like my whole thing becomes, how are you separating the two? How are you dividing it? Y'all can let me know what y'all think in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe, share the video. Peace.